Good morning, Natalie, the dear hairdresser, saying hello. Hope you're well. Happy Friday. I was coming in today to have a fun little chat about having a teenager. I have a 15-year-old daughter, almost 15. She's a freshman in high school, and yesterday we went shopping for homecoming dresses, and we found something, and that was an adventure. I have been paying attention a lot to relationships between teenagers and their parents, and in general, people and their parents or the generations ahead of them. And watching my daughter grow up and assisting her as her mother has been kind of like re examining my own childhood and re raising myself a little bit. And when we parent, we get the opportunity to look back on the things that we learned from our parents and their parents and see if that's something that we want to carry into the future with us. And let's just say that not every trait that our parents have taught us is something that is going to be good to bring forward to the future. Yeah, so I've been thinking a lot about that, and I think my daughter and I have a pretty good relationship. Um, when I was about 15, though, like a lot of my peers, I started to have issues with my parents and lose a little bit of trust in them, which then led to them losing trust in me as I started to rebel a little bit. Um, and I think that's not an uncommon story. I know that's not an uncommon story because there is this stereotype about teenagers and rebellion and youth culture being very rebellious and needing to change things a lot. And that seems to be very frustrating for adults that are not in that generation that want to maintain the status quo of how they were raised and the traits that they had passed down and aren't very willing to look at surrounding circumstances that might be different now. And I think that is probably where children and younger generations lose trust for adults. And I've just been having this thought about the point where things kind of go wrong. Like when I was in high school, I started to experiment with drugs and alcohol, and a lot of my peers were doing the same thing. And I think all of us were pretty freaking lost because, we were making bad choices, but we were also doing our best to fit into the mold that we had been told was going to get us where we needed to go. So here we are, decades later, and the mold that we had been tried to be forced into by our parents who didn't understand us, who didn't know the world that we were living in, the world that we were going to be coming into, that they were still sort of boxing us into, wasn't going to exist when we got here. And that's where we are right now. I have nieces and nephews that are in their 20s, and watching them try and launch into this world has been interesting because I think I see what's going on with them, where maybe some adults don't seem to see what's going on. And people are getting a really quick lesson on how different times are right now. It is not as easy for kids to come out and get a job. Most people in their 20s probably aren't going to own a home for a while, or maybe you're going to have to, live with their parents for a long time. Myself, here I am, 43, and I can barely afford my life. I'm living some very uncomfortable things right now that people around me that are generations older don't seem to understand, and that's very frustrating for me because they never lived in this world. And so it's that whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps idea. And I was just kind of thinking, well, that is a really clever thing to say when you haven't had the same pair of boots on, or maybe don't have the ability to do that, is basically what I'm saying. And so I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because I'm wondering how we were able to fail so many young generations and how we can stop this, because I am frightened for my children and the world that they're going to be growing up in. It's scary. And I think these are questions that we all need to ask ourselves right now. What things are we bringing forward from the past that are going to be boxing in future generations? I don't know. I just had to take a long drive today and think about it. I don't want to fail my children, and I want them to trust me because I want to keep that relationship strong. So right now that looks to me like having a lot of conversations with my daughter that are pretty uncomfortable. And so unpopular opinion, my daughter already knows all the stupid things I did in high school because I want her to understand that that happens really quickly and easily, and I wanted her to understand me. And as I'm trying to re-raise myself and figure out the points in my life where maybe I could have made different choices, I'm seeing that it was pretty hard for me to make different choices when I didn't have support around me and I didn't understand myself very well. And I had a lot of people trying to tell me who I was. I'm getting a little lost. All right, I'm past 5 minutes. If you made it this long, thank you. If you want to leave a comment, please do. I'll see you later. Bye.